Good morning, Village Church. The thoughts for today focuses on Mordecai's role in the story of Esther. So if you want to pause and take a moment and read Esther chapter 6, verses 1 through 14, then we'll continue. It never fails, does it? Things are not as simple as they seem. And about that time when you think that things cannot get any worse, they often do. And this was certainly true for Mordecai at this part of Esther's story. But there's hope. When we have a relationship with Christ, when all seems lost, it isn't. And Mordecai could have despaired at the situation in Persia. The king was a Gentile. He had no interest in the Jewish people. And his close confidant, Haman, shamelessly hated the Jews. And Esther, her true identity was hidden. And if someone were to discover that she was a Jew, her life could have been over in an instant. But here we see that when all seems lost, it isn't. When no one seems to notice, they do. In previous chapters, we read that Mordecai acted courageously when he discovered the conspiracy between two of the doorkeepers of the palace who were plotting against the king. And when Mordecai heard of that conspiracy, he told Esther about it, and she, being the queen, alerted the king. And Esther told the king that the information had come from Mordecai, yet no one rewarded him for his great act, and it seemed as though no one noticed or remembered. So Mordecai went on living his unnoticed, unrewarded, and unappreciated life until this pivotal night. The commentary puts a personal emphasis on a word in verse 1, during that night. Here we see God acting at the perfect moment. That's the way that it is with God. At the 11th hour, he steps in and he does the unexpected. When no one seems to notice or care, God noticed and God cared during that night. Knowing that God will show up at the perfect time gives me a sense of comfort and stability, especially now. And I think there is something also to be learned from Mordecai here in this moment. Through all that is happening to him, Mordecai never becomes a man of vengeance. He never tries to get back at Haman, even when he has the opportunity. Even when he has Haman in a very vulnerable spot. And I want to use this account as a reminder to guard my heart as Mordecai did.
For God is not unjust so as to forget your work and the love which you have shown towards his name, in having ministered and in still ministering to the saints. Hebrews 6:10.
As you think on these verses from Esther and Hebrews, know that when no one else notices, God notices. This week, I encourage you to continue to live in Christ. Live with the expectation that God will act at the perfect time in your circumstances, just as he did with Mordecai. Have a great week, and we will see you virtually at worship.